Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Welcome. We'll get started in just a few minutes. We're going to let some more folks come into this space, but we're hoping that you are here for opioid overdose and drink spiking. We're going to talk about how to prevent and protect our community. Awesome. Got a few more. And Michelle, are you good? Like maybe we'll give like 9:31. We'll give it another.
Yes, that would be great. Let's go ahead and give everyone an extra minute
Thanks.
to get.
Thank you for the text message. I've been waiting in the waiting room.
Oh, you're welcome. Sorry, we were doing our little like sound checks and all of those things to get ready.
Well, the Zoom link had us in the waiting room, or had me in the waiting room.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Got a few more coming in. And we'll give about one more minute just in case we've got, some folks that are still trying to join. It just hit 9:30, so but we will get started shortly. We want to honor everyone's time. And we're so grateful you chose to be with us this morning. Yeah. Michelle, you want to do that?
Absolutely. For those of you that are on right now, in the chat, if you could just list your campus and your department, love to see that. If you can, just so people on the call can get an idea of who's here and where you're from. It'd be lovely. Thank you, everybody. Oh, I see him coming on.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's lovely. Thanks so much. Oh, so good.
Yeah, I've got some psychology department, biology, dental assisting. Yay. Hi, team. I met with them just recently about this topic. So nursing. Oh, that's awesome. Chemistry, kinesiology, and dual enrollment. Yes, this is a really relevant topic. English. That's awesome. Yeah, speech path. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Well, I say, Michelle, you ready to, we'll jump in and get started. We'll keep letting folks in, but we want to honor everyone's time. Well, good morning. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. We are here from your student health and wellness team. So I'll introduce myself and let Michelle intro herself as well. My name is Victoria Flores. I serve as the Dean of Student Wellness and Support Services here in Los Rios. And so I oversee all 4 of our college student health and wellness centers. We provide both physical and mental health services. My background is in social work, and I've been doing public health and physical and mental health and social service work for my whole career, actually. So this is really a passion topic of mine, and really honored to spend this time with you. And I'll let Michelle introduce herself.
Hello, everyone. I'm Michelle Barkley, college nurse at Cosumnes River College. I've been here for about 20 plus years, so still loving being here. And it just is an add-on bonus with Victoria coming to the team. Student health and wellness has grown, and with all of these added additional things that we're providing to the campus, just want to kudos to you. Thank you, Victoria, for being support for us and doing all this. So
Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you, Michelle. Yes, and our college nurses are phenomenal. They've really jumped into this topic and providing education. So we're really excited to chat with you all this morning. If you have questions throughout our presentation, we'll ask you to put those in the chat. We'll do our best. If we're going to get to it, we could kind of say, hey, that's coming up, or we'll do our best to answer, or we'll have time at the end as well to ask questions as well. well. So that'd be great for folks. I just want to say, camera on for community if you're comfortable, but totally okay to keep your camera off. In our department, we always say camera on for community, camera off for self-care, right? So if you're taking care of yourself, you're eating, whatever, you're kind of, lounging, listening, that is completely okay as well. We are recording this session so that we can, have folks watch this later. So we just wanted everyone to be aware we are recording. Should you choose to share something personal, please just want you to know it is being recorded. Michelle and I are also really happy to talk with you afterwards. We're readily available through Teams or email if you would like to connect with us one-on-one as well. And then if you hopefully like this presentation or you want to bring this information to either your staff that you work with, your colleagues, or any of your students, we are happy to come present. This presentation, we can also kind of condense it if needed. So just reach out to your Student Health and Wellness Center, and we can drop the link where you can find our website and all of our emails, and connect with us on your college campus. And I think that was all of my housekeeping. So let's go ahead and get started. So we do want to just provide a trigger warning that we are going to talk about sensitive topics, including drug use, overdosing, and sexual assault. And that if you need some support after this workshop, please connect with either a trusted colleague or friend or a trusted, supervisor or support person, or even your Student Health and Wellness Center. But this is, kind of a heavier topic for you this morning. But we also hope a heartening topic because it's something we can actually do to help keep our community safe. So the overview this morning is that we're going to talk about the harm reduction kits that we have readily available, the impact of fentanyl in our community, learning about the dangers. Michelle's going to take us through signs of an overdose and how to use Narcan. And then we'll also talk about drink spiking, a new law that just came down, and then some harm reduction strategies that we're really trying to promote and support for our community. And then, of course, time for any questions and answers. So these are absolutely free. This is our big plug and promo. We're calling them party safe kits. This is really harm reduction kits that any staff or students, we readily give them away, can come and pick up at any one of our Student Health and Wellness Centers. We have those on all 4 of our college campuses. And we are also happy to go out to any of our centers and provide this training and kits as well. And so these kits include, and I'm actually going to go to the next slide because Michelle took this great photo that includes what's in this kit. So we've got a box of Narcan that includes 2 doses. And Michelle's going to explain to you why 2 doses is actually really important, because sometimes there is the need for the second dose. We have fentanyl test strips, and these are great because they're in these foil kind of packets. So you can throw them in a pocket. They're not going to get wet or ruined. And we give 2 of these to our students. And this is through California state law that requires all universities, colleges, and community colleges to provide this for free to our students. And then most recently, a new state law that came down, AB 1524, is requiring that we do drink spike test strips. And well, it requires that we do devices that help protect on drink spiking. So we are doing this little, there's actually 2 test strips in this foil packet. Again, very easy to slip into a pocket, not going to get wet, and it's resealable. And then drink covers. And then we've got directions and some harm reduction things in there as well. So lovely. Oh, and some condoms. We give away free condoms to all of our students, and then some other information about weave and other resources on our campus. So we, and there's no limit. Students can come pick up a kit and come back next week and pick up a kit. We really want to make sure that we have these resources out in our community to keep our folks safe. So for this first half, we are going to talk about preventing and protecting from opioid overdose and fentanyl poisoning, and then we'll go into drink spiking as well. So many of you may be aware, you've probably read in the news or heard in the news about, the opioid crisis and the fentanyl crisis. We hear a lot locally about, different law enforcement arrests around, having so much fentanyl, enough to, kill a whole town or something. It's almost mind-boggling. But this data comes from the Centers for Disease Control. And in 2020, fentanyl was the #1 leading cause of death for Americans for ages 18 to 45. And this is what really stunned me, surpassing suicide, COVID-19, and car crashes. And so this is still a really big epidemic, particularly locally here in Sacramento County. So the last full year review data in 2023, Sacramento County saw 406 deaths due to opioid overdose or poisoning. And we'll talk about the difference between those two. It continues when you look at the county coroner's data on fentanyl impacts, it just keeps climbing, right? Every single year. And that is not the trend we want to see. I do have some heartening data, but I won't give it away yet because we are starting to see some different trends. You may have seen those billboards out. Sacramento County has done a lot to push out that education that one pill can kill. And so lots going on in our county to combat this crisis. So what is fentanyl, right? Most of us, might not really, know that in our everyday. It is 50 to 100 times stronger than heroin. It's highly addictive and it is incredibly easy, and I should have added cheap, to produce, which makes it really, really dangerous. This small amount of fentanyl, if you see those tiny little white grains, looks a little bit like salt there next to that penny, that is a lethal dose of fentanyl. Particularly, and Michelle can probably speak to this better than I, if you have no sensitivity to an opioid product, if you've never used any kind of product like this before, right? That small, tiny amount is what can take a life. We know 75% of US overdose deaths, oh, that's a tongue twister, are related to fentanyl. 98% of pills that are marketed on the street as a prescription pill, we know are fake. They're actually not a real prescription pill. And 98% of those pills that are marketed on the street contain a fatal dose of fentanyl. And that's where you'll see that one pill can kill campaign is really, really important to, especially, for our community to know. So our message to our community is to know what you're taking. The only safe prescription pill to take is one that is prescribed or provided, prescribed by your doctor and provided by a pharmacy. And really what is incredibly unsafe is buying medication from social media or from a friend who says, I have an Adderall or I have a Xanax, here you go. And we're really just, trying to tell you, please do not use those, anything that someone gives you that did not come from a doctor. Because we don't know what's in it. And drug networks are using social media to market fentanyl-laced pills as legitimate prescription drugs. So one of the things we're seeing this trend with some of our younger people is feeling like, well, I'm not abusing drugs or taking drugs if I'm just trying to get an Adderall or I'm just trying to get a Xanax. It's a prescription pill, right? It's not like I'm out here doing some kind of illicit drug. And what they don't realize is that's not really a prescription pill, right? This actually comes to us from the DEA. And the top here, that's actually an authentic oxycodone. And over here on, the bottom half of that red line is the fake. Now, I don't know what you all think, but I'm not a pharmacist. And I actually thought the fake originally was the real one because to me, it looked crisper and more like pressed, right? And so for those of us that aren't a pharmacist or maybe don't regularly take these substances, there's almost no way to know what you're taking. And then here, as soon as, this came out from the DEA, all of these, icon emoji codes. I'm sure this is all obsolete, but there are a number of emoji codes that folks will use on social media to indicate that where you can purchase, fake prescription pills. So there's a lot of marketing going on, particularly to our young people. Before I came here to Los Rios, just a few years ago, I worked in Sacramento City Unified School District, and we became aware of a number of young people, students, high school, who were buying these kinds of illicit drugs through social media, and having some tragic outcomes. So even we became aware of this happening in our community. So unprescribed fake drugs commonly laced with fentanyl. So if you're seeing, things or someone saying, "Oh, I got a Xanax through, a friend," they're marketing things like Vicodin, right? OxyContin, Percocet, Xanax, Adderall. That's kind of a big popular. I just need a study drug, right? And we're even seeing fentanyl laced now in methamphetamines, cocaine, even some marijuana products, and then MDMA, like ecstasy and Molly. And so this is where we're seeing some, a lot of these kinds of overdoses happening. And so just drugs, I want to say again, these are drugs, not prescribed by a physician or provided by a pharmacy. Anything you get from a pharmacy is going to be safe. And so I want to play this short video for you. This is actually a local, person who is a counselor in the River City Recovery Center, really talking about the difference of someone who maybe is regularly using fentanyl knowingly and someone who got one of these fentanyl-laced pills and thought that they were getting an Adderall or a Xanax and didn't know. And so, we talk about fentanyl overdose, but really some of the verbiage is now fentanyl poisoning, right? Because I didn't even know what I was taking. I had no kind of, tolerance for that. And that's where we're seeing some of these really tragic deaths of young people, particularly locally in our area. So I'm going to play this video for you and let him speak.
The average person isn't aware of drug poisoning because most of the times when they hear about fentanyl death, they just think it's an overdose. A lot of the times they don't understand that people that are getting pressed pills maybe thinking they're getting one thing and take that pill maybe one time and that pill may have a lethal dose of fentanyl in it, and that's not a fentanyl overdose, it's a fentanyl poisoning. So there is a difference between the two, and I don't think a lot of people understand what that difference really is. A fentanyl overdose is an addict that is continually using fentanyl and then progressively overdoses on the substance. Fentanyl poisoning is different in that it is the user doesn't know that what they're getting has a lethal dose of fentanyl in it, and they may only have used that one time. So they may think they're getting a pill of Norco, and within that Norco, it's a pressed pill with fentanyl in it, and that fentanyl pill could poison them and they could die from that. So there's a little bit of a difference there.
And so Safer Sacramento, we'll share that resource at the end. There's a lot of really wonderful work going on here locally in Sacramento, and we can share that resource, especially if y'all want to learn more. Michelle and I are not the end all be all experts in this topic. We know enough to bring awareness and some education, but there's so much more to educate yourself on, or if you want to get involved in some of those local efforts, because I want to say we are making a difference. And so I hope you're, reading this slide as I'm talking, because our harm reduction strategies locally, they are working. In Sacramento, in October of 2024, Sacramento County reported a 56% reduction in fentanyl-related deaths between 2023 and 2024. So if you remember early on when we talked about the impact, in 2023, we had 406 deaths. I mean, those are families, those are people maybe we know and love, right? Who have not died because we do have these resources out there. So I'm really heartened by this. I also want to say one of the things that happened in our community during this time is that law came out where all of the higher education, so UCs, CSUs, and community colleges have to provide free Narcan and free fentanyl test strips in our community. So that added, right? There was a lot of that already going on. So I'm not saying like we're the reason, right? But that just added even more education and resources to our community. And I know personally, I've heard a handful of stories actually from students directly where they came and they picked up Narcan from us at one of our events and shortly after actually had the opportunity to use it. And most of the time, especially in harm reduction, we don't ever know, right? No one's coming back to us and reporting, typically, right, that, what happened, especially maybe if they were, using or doing something that they might not want to share with all of us. So it is making a difference. And I'm sure that story has multiplied over and over. It's just that we might not ever really know. So, what we're really promoting is testing any substance that you're going to take. If you're not willing to not take it, test it, right? Just know, including anything that someone says is a prescription. And then carry Narcan and know the signs of overdose. You can actually take the Narcan out. Michelle's going to show you, and I carry it in my bag. It's just loose because it's foil wrapped. So it's a lot easier to fit than this big bulky box. And I have it with me at all times because I never know where I might be, right? Where hopefully I can save someone's life. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Michelle.
Oh, well, thank you, Victoria. And how do you follow Victoria? You just have to, but thank you, Victoria. So now I'm going to talk about the different test kits we have, and how to use. So the fentanyl test strips, once again, to reinforce what Victoria said, if you're taking it, test it. And this is a message that we're sending to our loved ones and our students. And just it's better, we'd rather have you here than and test it and dump it than not. Fentanyl test strips help to reduce fatalities, but do not do 100%. Not 100% guarantee the safety of a drug. Once again, these are street drugs, for the most part, prescriptions through the doctor, pharmacy. It's the FDA controls that. We can't control what else is out there. The concentration of fentanyl in counterfeit pills is inconsistent. And so it's important to test the whole pill. There's a story of two young ladies who have to pill, and one of those young ladies died because of the concentration of the fentanyl on her side of the pill. So I know it's a tough sell too, because the hope is that, as a nurse, you're encouraging people not to do this. But if they are going to do it, be safe. That's the message. If you're going to try it, be safe. And so once again, with the strips, I'm going to show you, this is I'm going to have to keep in front of me, but this is the foil covered kit that is waterproof. And oh, good. Okay. I think and it's still I don't know how well you can see that, but, and it does have what it means, positive or negative. So, usually in nursing terms, when we test something, one line usually is negative, two lines is positive, but a little different. But once again, it's on the back of it. One way to do this is if you have a bottle of water, the cap, and I probably should have grabbed one too, but if you have the cap, best thing to do is to crush the pill, however you need to crush it, and just put it in the bottle cap, pour a little water in it, and then take this. I don't think I have any. note to self for next time. But if you do have the bottle cap, you just place that in the bottle cap, and you should get you'll get some type of line, and it shows where it shows where you put it in the water. So, and with how short it is, it's actually a good size for a water bottle if you have it. So, that's it. If taking a pill that was tested, start with a small dose and go slowly. So, kind of, once again, we encouraging not to do this, but if it's there, if we have these available, so let students know there. So next slide. Signs and symptoms of an opioid overdose. Typically, you basically, your respiration start to slow down. With snoring and choking, gurgling, you're not able to talk. You're just about ready to pass out. Body is limp. Someone is pale gray, probably even a bit diaphoretic, which means that they're cold and clammy and sweating. Definitely with disorientation. And you can look in their eyes, and typically opioids, physiologically, they will cause you to have pinpoint pupils. So next slide. Okay, and then we have Narcan. So Narcan is life-saving. It is a reversal agent. So I have it here, but what Narcan does is it blocks receptors that are causing someone to for pain receptors. It blocks the pain, but it also it blocks the opioid that is in your body, that's making you not feel the pain. But it's also and even with it, how it works, it does stop respirations. Fentanyl and opioids they decrease respirations. Let's see. And I've got a message here that they cannot see slides. And I don't know if I just saw that there. So I don't know. Is everyone able to see the slides? Can anyone comment on that just before we go on? Because they're really good slides.
Yes,
Okay.
I can see them.
Okay. I just have one person, but if you can reach out to Victoria, she's handling the chat while I'm doing this. So I'll let you chat with her if you can. Thank you. So here, so Narcan, naloxone only works for opioid overdose. But if you do give it to someone who has those symptoms that we discussed in the last slide, it's not going to harm them. In fact, if someone has, let's say, alcohol poisoning, and you spray Narcan in you give them Narcan, it has such a short half-life that it metabolizes through the body very quickly, and it's not harmful. Better to kind of that age-old adage, better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. So it's okay to give, and it's not going to harm anyone, even if it's not an opioid overdose. So, and go ahead and go to the next slide, because I think I'll take this out and show how we do that. And then here, okay. And then so we have, well, back to the unit here. So this is the unit, and then it comes like that. But when you open it up, we actually have instructions in there too. And I've got my cool background, and if I put it there, you guys can't see. So I got to keep it in front of me. So this is Narcan. How to give. So basically, I'll show this here. You don't have to take anything off of it. You just rip it out, and then you put your hand here, and you'll just stick it in the nose. But you get the Narcan, you hold the spray with your thumb, in the plunger, then you insert in the nostril. And one thing we want to make sure you do too is make sure someone is calling 911. Because if someone is having those symptoms, they're going to need care after. And so with taking them to the emergency room, that is what you want done. Call 911. If no changes in 2 to 3 minutes, there's 2 of them in the box. I keep 2 of them in my purse. I just keep them in this. This is the one I opened. But I keep 2 doses of Narcan in my purse. And that the reason is because of the way it metabolizes so fast, that you give 1 dose, there is still the opioid, it's circulating in someone's system, that it only blocks for so long that you need to give a second dose, and possibly even more doses. But if you have to wait 2 minutes, nothing happens, just continue to get and give the second one, and remain with the person until emergency help arrives. Okay, so next slide, please. Thank you, Victoria. And this shows the picture of, what you do. You just take it, and it really, I'm not going to spray it, but you just push up there, and
And this is a quick video, Michelle.
oh, okay, yeah, cool.
Okay.
911, what's your emergency?
And that's nice. I didn't have to spray it to show you guys. But yeah, thank you. All right, and then I'm gonna give it over to Victoria.
Yeah, and we just sorry, I got something in my throat there. I do just want to share in my previous position, we did have this happen with students at one of our schools where they went down. It was actually during a class. Luckily, folks had been trained, knew what to do, and they did have to give that second dose. So, the substance that they took was so strong, they had to give that second dose before EMS got there. And so it really is important to, watch and, stay by that person and, have both of those doses with you, particularly as we're seeing the strength of these substances increase in our local community. So yeah, thank you so much, Michelle. And if y'all have questions, please, let us know. You do have a question in the chat, Michelle, that I don't know. I'm hoping maybe you can answer from a nursing perspective. So, and we'll answer that in the chat about what's the half-life of fentanyl versus the half-life of Narcan. Yes, the fentanyl, I think that is the answer. Is that right, Michelle? That the fentanyl lasts longer? Oh, I think you're muted. Michelle, I think you're muted.
Opioids can stay in your body for hours, and the Narcan is really just a few minutes with that. So that's why. Yeah, correct. And there was another question, is where we're located, Student Health and Wellness. I will go ahead and yeah, in the ops building. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah. So that is why 911 is so important. We need to get these folks to medical care where they can continue to monitor and make sure that opioid isn't, overwhelming their respiratory system. So this is why if you're using alone, right, or some of these harm reduction strategies, right, that if no one's there to administer the Narcan, we're seeing some of those really tragic losses. So, if available, is additional doses recommended? Yes, yes. So yes, hopefully we just answered that for you, John. Yeah, you do want to give those additional doses. And hopefully EMS is, there, pretty quickly, but we know sometimes it can take a little bit longer. So, so we're going to kind of transition now to talking about drink spiking. And this is actually a new law that just got passed and went into effect in January of 2025 that's now requiring, in addition to Narcan and fentanyl test strips at all of our colleges, we now also need to be providing some kind of, I think the law said, device around preventing from drink spiking, as well as education, right? Really speaking about these things and educating our community. And so we're going to share a bit about drink spiking. The really unfortunate thing, I think, about drink spiking, it is hugely underreported, right? We know that there is an epidemic that happens, but it is not get readily and widely reported. And so it's really hard to pull the impact data. I was searching and searching, trying to find something. I'm just going to say kudos to the UK and Australia because they have a lot of data around this and a lot of really great public health campaigns. But here in the US, it's more of estimates, right? So I just want to say, as we talk about this and you see some of the data, just keep in mind this is vastly underreported, right? So we know that there's likely very much higher rates of this. So drink spiking is often used to facilitate the commission of another crime, right? Most often what we see, it could be a robbery or a physical assault, but oftentimes we also see sexual assault and rape. It is more commonly targeted toward women, but men are targeted as well as various communities. And what we know from some of the data, some surveying, is at least from what was reported, 13% of all students, that's both graduate and undergraduate, experience a rape or sexual assault through physical force, violence, or incapacitation. And that's what we're talking about, putting something in your drink that incapacitates you. But I just want to say that 13% we know is wildly underreported. So I think it's really important that we talk about, what can happen. We inform and we provide that education to our community so they can take steps to do whatever they can to keep themselves safe, as well as their friends who they may be out with or hanging out with. So some of the drugs we see used in drink spiking, again, so benzodiazepines, this includes roofies. You often hear that, right? That can cause muscle relaxation, slurred speech. We'll talk about some of the impacts of roofies. I will say the manufacturers now of roofies have put a blue dye in it. So if you have a drink that's kind of somewhat clear or not already, very colored, it's going to turn your drink blue. So folks are actually moving away from roofies. We see GHB being put in people's drinks, ketamine, as well as MDMA. So these, and there, I'm sure, are other, kinds of things that folks are looking at. So we want folks to know when to discard your drink or when to test your drink if you think that something's been tampered with. Because if you test it and you can actually report it and hopefully stop that person, whether you're in a location, where maybe they're trying to do this to someone else. So if your drink suddenly becomes salty or bitter, right? It looks foggy or cloudy, especially when it was already clear. Now, this can be really hard when we're maybe drinking something that's very colorful or, kind of fancy. Any excessive bubbles. So, some of these drugs will fizz and bubble, especially if it wasn't fizzy or bubbly before. If your ice suddenly sinks, that can be one of the signs. And of course, a change in color. That's, particularly with that roofie. But even other drugs can cause your drink to change a different color. So anytime you're just thinking that something feels off or your drink doesn't taste the same as it just did, we're really, asking folks, discard it. Or if you have one of these, test it and discard it. Don't keep drinking it. And then knowing some of the physical signs, right? Feeling lightheaded or faint beyond, what you might anticipate from whatever, that drink might have, if that was an alcoholic drink or something. Sleepiness, nausea, headache, loss of reflexes, feeling like you can't quite control your body, or you're feeling out of it, unable to think straight. Speech difficulties, of course, loss of consciousness, and then any severe or unusual hangover where you wake up that next day and you don't remember, right? So these physical signs are really important, particularly not only for ourselves, but if we're with other people, right? Looking like, hey, you don't look right, right? Don't let them go off to the bathroom by themselves, or something like that. Something might really be amiss there. And then what we're really encouraging our community, and this is really part of the harm reduction strategies, not only having these, resources for, covering your drink or testing your drink, is really planning for keeping, yourself as well as, your friends that you might be with safe, whether you're going out, to a public event, or you're hanging out with friends. And this applies to all of us, right? Not just, maybe some of the young people in our life, but make a plan with friends for checking in and staying together, right? You arrive together, you leave together. Let others know where you're going and when you plan to be home. That's just sort of, kind of come and charge your phone so that you can call for help if you need it, right? Bring your party safe toolkit supplies. The really cool thing about these is they very easily fit in a pocket or even in a shirt, and it's waterproof, so you're not going to ruin your test strips as well. We did look into some of these really cool coasters or bracelets that do the test strip, things, and they get sweaty and wet, and it renders them useless. So we were really thoughtful about the type of product that we went with. Bring your drink cover, right? That also can fit in a back pocket really easily and then just slip right over your drink. And make sure you have a sober ride home, right? Whether that's a designated driver or ride share. And then during the event or outing, wherever you are, order, watch, and carry your own drink, right? Really be mindful if someone's giving you a drink that you don't know. We would really advise don't take it. Let them buy your drink if you want, but watch, order it, watch it, and then take it yourself. Use your drink cover and test strip. Of course, discard a drink that isn't tasting right or looks off. Be aware of your surroundings and your friends, right? With your friends, what's going on, who maybe is going off with someone. This is one of the biggest ones. I talk to my girls. I have a 17-year-old and a 20-year-old. Trust your instincts. If you're uncomfortable, gather your group and leave. Move away, ask for help. If something doesn't feel right, whether it's a substance you're about to take or a drink you're accepting, trust your instincts. You're picking up on something, right, that maybe cognitively our brains can't put words to, but there are warning signs that you are actually picking up on. And then afterwards, alert a trusted individual of any concerns. If you think something happened to you, leave with your group. Don't leave anyone behind. This is such an important one. If something does occur, get help, right? Go to if you're out in a public area, go to that manager or staff member, go to, law enforcement. If maybe you're, at a concert or something, get help. And then take care of your body and mind. Hydrate and sleep. Those are both so important, right? Especially when we're out, celebrating or maybe participating and, using, some of these substances. We also want to say that there are some legal protections for going and getting help, right? Whether it's in drink spiking or it's using your Narcan or your fentanyl test strips. We have seen this phenomenon. And again, I can share my own experience. I've seen this phenomenon where people were using in a public space and someone got really sick and passed out, overdosed, and they ran because they were worried about getting in trouble. And it took that one person who stayed behind and went and got help that saved that individual's life. when everyone else took off. And they took off because they were scared. They were young, right? Not in their right minds, but still, that we were so close to losing a life there. It just took that one person to be brave and get help. So there are legal protections. The California Good Samaritan Law and California Education Code here protects you from liability for administering Narcan as well. Same with, Good Samaritan. But if we're talking with young people who might be together and using, again, they have some protections from arrest, charge, or prosecution if they were potentially using with someone. So I think that's important to, let our young people know, please don't be scared to call for help, right? Please call for help, save that life. And then this is one of the postcards that we've come up with. We had another one that had a lot of resources on it, but sometimes less is more. This is really what we're learning in the marketing world from our students. And so this is a postcard that takes our students to our webpage where we have more resources and we have some training on our webpage to learn about the dangers of both fentanyl and drink spiking. And so this says, to everyone who believes in being social and being safe, right? Drink spiking happens. Guard yourself from sexual assault or other crimes by protecting your drink. And then we've got our QR code to learn more. And then on the back is about fentanyl. So by recognizing risks and vulnerabilities, we can become safer. We actually see that in our data, right? That when we talk about these dangers, we provide these resources to our community, we are seeing that locally in Sacramento, we are saving lives. So fentanyl continues to be a major contributor to drug overdoses in California. If it was not prescribed, it's not safe. And I heard this actually from a student. He's actually a student for Los Rios now. But he does a lot of this work in Sacramento County with the Opioid Coalition. And he said, good people take drugs and drugs take good people. Sorry, that makes me a little emotional. Because we never think it's going to happen to our circle or our, family or our community. And it may be that it does, and it can. So taking away some of that shame and blame and really just trying to be able to talk to our folks about being safe. So this is our website, so we can drop this link in the chat as well. We do have a web page that we just revamped to include all of the drink spiking. We also have, a version of the opioid training. It's actually through the Department of, I think it's the Department of Healthcare Services, I think, who did this little video on how to use Narcan and recognize the signs of fentanyl overdose. So you can do that on our website as well, and learn a lot more if you would like. And that's our link to our website as well. And then lastly, I think we did it, Michelle. We came under our time count, but we do, if you have further questions, this is our QR code to make an appointment with one of our, either a college nurse or a mental health therapist at our student health and wellness centers. Our little wee plug that we have free resources and services for our students here on our campus, both in-person mental health therapy, in-person visits with a college nurse. And you can make an appointment, you can schedule, you can also walk in and we can assist you with either, if we can see you right away, or we can assist with getting our students an appointment. And I think that was it. Any other questions from folks?
And you could type in the chat or go ahead and unmute yourself if you have any.
Yeah, I think I see Gabriel, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I also posted my question in the chat, and because I work in the foreign language department, we have a bulletin board there, and I think maybe if there are flyers available, posting some of those on the bulletin board will expose those to a lot of students that walk through our labs on a daily basis.
Oh, yeah, that is a great idea. And Gabriel, we will make sure we are working on kind of a poster for our services, but that also calls out the Party Safe Toolkit. So we'll be sure to get those around all 4 college campuses, because I know we've got folks from all of our colleges here.
Yeah. And to let you know too, we advertise in the bathrooms and the stalls. We have stall news always there. So we've just put up these plastic holders where we do that there. So our QR code is on there. But we targeted that because most everyone that comes to campus is going to have to potentially use the facility. So so it's there too, there as well.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yeah, and I just dropped our link in the chat. So if you want to check out, that's our specific page for opioid overdose and drink spiking, but it's linked to our Student Health and Wellness Center page. And then I also dropped a flyer in from Sacramento County, that's Safer Sacramento. You saw that video. They're doing a lot of social media campaigns. So those are several of their different social media campaigns. Got some QR codes there. If you do want to learn more or you want to get involved, we regularly attend the Sacramento County Opioid Coalition meetings as well, where we stay up to date and connected to the community doing this work. Yeah, awesome. Yes, please come by, Raquel, grab a kit. We'd love to come to your classrooms if that's something you want us to do, or anytime, however we can partner. I love Carla says I think she's seen them. She's seen our stall news. Yes, yeah. We've got a captive audience, right? I love public health because it's all about sort of, low cost, high yield. So yeah. Go ahead, Michelle.
Oh, well, yeah. So with going to the website, you can reach out to any of the student health and wellness team on your campus. If you go to the website, if you need to, and yeah, and you've got me and Victoria here. We probably with leaving our email and we're on Teams. I not everyone uses Teams, so so I'll drop my email and I'll let Victoria drop hers too.
Yeah. And Tammy, she was asking where the ARC Student Health and Wellness Center is. It's moved, actually. It's now, where the Student Center, where the Starbucks is. I feel like everyone knows where the Starbucks is. It's just down the hall from the Student Center. We're right on the back. So we actually have some good signage in there now. So I say like we're on the back of the Student Center. Yeah, so brand new clinic location. They opened it right when we closed for the pandemic. So it didn't really, get a lot of play, but both physical and mental health are back there. Yeah. Oh, and then I should put mine in too, right, Flores?
I was gonna, yeah, yes.
Rios. Oops. There we go.
And I'll see if we've got any other questions. No.
Yeah, well, I think we're good. Please reach out. Please spread the word. We did record this session today, so we will be posting it on our website for Student Health and Wellness. We actually have a staff canvas. Sorry, I always say Canva because I'm in both. We have a staff canvas page. And you can actually find it through our website, or we can email that to you. And I believe the CRC Professional Development is also going to be posting this training on their YouTube channel. So please spread the word, share with folks. We love to have more ambassadors to share about what we're doing and, the resources that are readily available to our community. So thank you so much for being here, everyone. We hope you have a lovely spring semester and a wonderful day.
Yeah, and plug in again. You can pick these up. Oh, okay. I don't know if I can get that. I'll try to. But these are in the Student Health and Wellness Centers. So love to have you come pick them up.
Thank you for all the information.